Okay, so I just wanted to make a short video explaining the very basics of a tech that a lot of people might know of but don't know how it works. This tech is called an Ultra Dash. Its name can be a bit of a misnomer though, because it leads people to believe it's somehow a more advanced version of a Wave Dash or Hyper Dash. The first thing to clear up is that Ultras are distinctly different and are a product of the way the game is coded, rather than being an intended mechanic. So the basics are tied to the game's velocity values and how dashing interacts with it. When doing a normal wave dash or hyper, the game gives you 325 horizontal speed, as you can see in the top right on the little menu thing, which means you're traveling at 325 pixels per second. Whenever you dash horizontally or diagonally in the direction you are already moving, the speed that you have from the hyper can be maintained through the dash as long as it exceeds the velocity of the dash. So, when you dash like this, your x velocity, but not your y velocity, can stay the same if it's over that normal dashing velocity. For a normal horizontal dash, your velocity is 240, and since Madeline's dash stays the same total velocity but aimed at a 45-degree angle during a diagonal dash, the x velocity is about 169. The importance of this, though, is that if you dash in the same direction you're moving, immediately after a wave dash or hyper, you maintain the speed throughout the dash. However, and here's where the caveat comes, and actual ultras come into play. When dashing up diagonally or horizontally, your momentum is killed right after the dash ends, but not when dashing down diagonally. This is why ultra chains consist of moving towards platforms below you that stretch further and further away. There's a couple more mechanics that are important to understanding the basics of ultras, however. First, when landing after this down diagonal dash ends, Madeline gains a 1.2 times speed boost. This is how chained ultras truly gain their potential, allowing you to go to absurd speeds. Second, if you land before the dash ends, you will lose all your momentum. However, if you jump too early as well, you'll just do a wave dash, which the game is then programmed to, once again, set your horizontal speed back to 325. You don't want this for an Ultra Dash. You want to go much further beyond the standard velocity. Now come the minutiae to an Ultra Dash. Ultras are very easy to mess up and need to be learned with practice. The few things that can happen when chaining ultras that will likely mess you up are very hard to notice and are described as follows. First, if you buffer the jump when landing, you will not gain the 1.2 times speed boost. Buffering a jump means that you press the button too early, but the game is generous and gives you that jump back when you land. To prevent this, you'll want to slide briefly on the ground to not buffer. This is part of what makes ultras so hard. Second, some platforms may be too close to where you initially ultra, and if you were to continue dashing down diagonally immediately, you'd find that you'd likely hit the ground before your dash state ends, canceling the ultra. You need to make sure that in these cases, you wait longer before dashing down diagonally to gain more height off of your jump. And the last issue is that of drag. To maximize your speed, you want to be in the dash state for as long as possible because there's no drag while dashing. Usually this means dashing immediately after jumping and trying to slide on the ground less, which, now that you can see that you aren't supposed to bunny hop them, which is why ultras are so difficult. To summarize possible failures, if you're going too slow, you probably jumped too early and didn't get a speed boost, or a combination of dashing too late and jumping too late. Then, if you get stopped completely, your dash ended after touching the ground, removing all of your speed. It's important to get to learn how these mechanics work so that when you mess up, you understand why and how you can fix it. Part of what makes ultras so hard is the fact that these mistakes can look very similar. Now, finally, in order to actually do ultras, you'll need to practice the muscle memory a lot. As you can see from what I'm doing here, I'm dashing ASAP on every occasion after jumping on the ground to give me as much speed as possible. I hope this helps. The map I'm using is Skool by DeathKontrol. I'll link it in the description. It's the best place to practice ultras, and I hope it provides use.